What up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Sistas on BET Season 3, Episode 19. The episode was titled The Wild Card, you guys. So, before we get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not yet subscribed to the channel, then I'm going to need you guys to do me a huge solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on, share the video. And with that out the way, you guys, without further ado, let's discuss Sistas on BET, shall we? All right, you guys. So I will say to you guys that Sistas to me was so much better than The Oval was this week. I enjoyed this episode. There were some parts of the episode that I was like, but other parts I was like, okay. Overall, it was a good episode. So this episode, we picked up where we last left off. You guys remember in the last episode, Gary pretended he was ready to have sex with Andy, right? So Gary went down, noticed that Andy's panties were on backwards, which I still don't understand how Andy's underwear were on backwards when Andy and Robin were in the bed. Like I said, all Andy had on was her, well, not all she had on. The only thing Andy had taken off was her bra and her top, right? Girl, and I just thought about something. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So he says, Andy, why are your underwear on backwards? She says, I don't know. He says, that's not like you, Andy. Like you, basically he was saying she's a perfectionist, right? She couldn't give him a reason why her underwear were on backwards. So then, he asked her if she was with someone. She says, I don't know. But then they had a back and forth. And Andy eventually says, I was at a hotel with a man. He said, did you have sex with him? She says, she didn't answer him. He says, who is the man? She says, I don't know. He says, so you had sex with a stranger. Gary, you're dumb, right? You just caught her you just saw her literally at the Carlisle Hotel with Robin. You didn't think that, hey, maybe the guy that you were at the hotel with is the one that you had, you were in the room with. But okay, I'm not even gonna go too deep into that one, right? So then she was like, why are you even doing this? Like, so you allegedly had an issue with me being with, was it Perry? Child, I forget what the dude's name is. Child, I forgot his name. We have not saw him or his mama since last season. So she grabs him. She says, see, you're not even hard. So you were just playing with me. So he tells her he's going to the gym and he's going to stay all night. She's like, why don't you just never come back? He's like, she's been asking me that. Why do I keep coming back? So then he calls some strange woman on the phone. She's like, hey, baby. He says, did you get the flowers I sent you? She says, yeah. He says, I just told her I'm going to the gym, but I'll be there in about 20. Here's my thing with that situation, right? So he left her apartment, right? Oh, that's right. Jasmine stole the key. Because I was just about to ask a question like, he didn't even leave his key, and Andy didn't say leave your keys. Wait a minute. Let me put the phone down for just a second because I got a question. I know Andy has a bellman, right? I do know that part, but Jasmine stole the key. So how has he been getting in and out of her apartment without a key? Unless she has one of those doors like what my old apartment was, where it's keyless, right? You just put in your code. You put in your code and unlock the door, or you have an app where you can unlock the door as you get close to it, right? Or you don't even have, or actually you don't even have to be close to it. If you leave the house and you forget, like, oh shit, I left my door open, you can go to the app and it'll lock the door itself, right? Same with like your AC and your AC, right? You can control that from your phone. So maybe that's what it is. We'll say that. So after Gary left Andy, she decided that she wants to go back over to Robin's place. And I was like, because she went back over there in the same outfit that she's had on. So I'm like, Andy, you've been walking around a lot today, right? So I know the cooch is a little moist, right? So you're not going to just kind of, wash up or anything before you go over to this man's hotel room? She said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go to his hotel room. I said, okay, Andy, you have it. So Andy knocks at the door Robin comes to the door half naked, right? Then he opens the door. We see that there's a woman in the background and she just has her bra on. I was like, oh. She was like, if this is a bad time, I can go. He's like, no, why don't you come in and join us? Andy was like, negative, Nancy. So he says, come on, just come in, have a drink. And, you can decide from there. I was like, that sounds like Rape to me, because she can. I'm just not even finna get into that one. So Andy is watching as, Robin and the woman are having sex with each other. I was like, oh wow, this is interesting. And the woman still had her bra on. I'm like, so y'all really you're really gonna have sex with your bra on? You're not gonna take the bra off, maybe put some pasties on, put a bed sheet over her? Nope. So then, Robin gets up to go get Andy. And Andy sits on the bed. Robin starts kissing off Andy's neck and everything. And they start pulling her, her blazer off. Then they start pulling the straps on her shirt down, pulling her bra. Then the woman comes over and she kisses Andy on the neck. I was like, oh, okay. This would be hot if Robin wasn't in the picture. Because Robin just doesn't give it to you. Robin just doesn't ooze any kind of sex appeal. But Andy and the woman, they definitely give it. But Robin just gives you scrawny teenage boy. Literally what Robin gives is scrawny teenage boy. Am I about to say this? Now, if this was a scene between, y'all forgive me. If this were Gary, Andy, and the woman, I'd be like, okay, I can see this. But I don't want to see this, but I can. But it's Robin, and Robin just gives you prepubescent teenager. Sorry. That's what he gives. So Andy starts kissing Robin. So then Andy turns over and she kisses the woman. I was like, and that's where the scene ended. I'm like, so y'all not gonna give us, like, you literally just gave us this awkward scene with Robin thrusting this woman who's not making a sound or anything. But okay, whatever. So let's move over to Zack and Fatima, you guys. So Zack and Fatima, we see Zack and Fatima, they having sex. Zack is blowing Fatima's brains out, right? So Fatima tells him, hey, I gotta go home, right? He was like, why? She was like, she just gotta go home. So he kept pressing, trying to figure out why. So then she eventually tells him, like, she got mad after he told her about him and Karen. Well, I mean, you now know that that's a lie. That him and Karen he's not with Karen. He didn't have sex with Karen. He didn't do anything with Karen. The only thing we know that he did with Karen was in that supply closet. But hey, so she says it bothers her that he couldn't just go to Karen's place. She says that kind of says that he didn't trust himself around Karen. Not necessarily, right? Because if he didn't trust himself around Karen, he wouldn't have went to Danny's place, right? What I think it is, and I don't know if Fatima is looking at it this way, it's not that he's saying he doesn't trust himself around, he doesn't trust himself. I think more specifically is he's saying that he doesn't trust Karen. Because, I mean, especially if you go to, he's going to his ex-girlfriend's apartment. They have memories there, right? So I don't necessarily think it's that he didn't trust himself at Karen's. I think it's that he didn't trust Karen. Well, but it could be a little bit of him not trusting himself, right? Because Karen could come on to him. But I mean, even after they had that little thing in the broom closet, right? Karen has been coming on kind of thick to him, and he's turned her away. He's turned her away. But hey. So then Zack and Fatima both utter the words to each other. They love each other. I was like, oh wow. Oh man, you guys, I got ahead of myself with the Robin and Andy stuff. What we've already talked about it, so let's move on. All right. Oh God, Karen and Aaron, are you too good for me? Did you say something? No, I didn't say nothing. He said, I thought I heard you say something. No, I didn't say nothing. So he spent the night with her, right? I'm so sorry. I'm just a lot of drama. He says, no, you're not a lot of drama. She says, yes, I am. He says, no, you're not. You show. The fact that she says you show get on my nerves, and I know when Misha does her review, she gonna trip out about that. You show. Karen loves to say you show when people say it more than once. You show. So, like I said in last week's review, I literally believe that there's something wrong with Aaron, right? Because Karen said in this scene with Aaron that, you know, she doesn't know a lot of men that would be okay with the fact that she called him by her ex's name and she still has feelings for her ex, right? He says he knows people. I'm gonna give you guys exactly what he said verbatim. Aaron says he knows people, he knows hearts, and he knows love. And he says that none of us are perfect. And I was just like, okay, so none of us are perfect, right? Tell that to your deceased ex-wife, right? Your deceased ex-wife cheated on you. You couldn't forgive her. And this woman unlived herself, right? But you got all of this forgiveness for a woman that you barely know. I mean, you barely know Karen, but you got all this forgiveness, all this love for her. And even Karen, he said he loves Karen. Karen said, I love you too. These people are using the love word loosely, even Zack and Fatima. As much as I like Zack and Fatima together, we're using the love word a little bit too loosely, right? You guys have known each other maybe with Zack and Fatima. I don't know what the timeline is, but I know with Zack and Fatima, y'all have only known each other for a couple of days, maybe a week or two. And the same with Aaron and Karen. Y'all haven't known each other that long, right? Because it hasn't been that long that your ex-wife, I mean, just literally unlived herself. But hey, you know, whatever. So then we move over to that empty ass bank. And Calvin is there making a deposit. So then, you know, Sabrina comes from around the corner and, you know, Calvin asks her to dinner. Sabrina, she was hemming and hawing. I'm like, Sabrina, if you can't accept the kinks that this man is into, tell him that so you can put him and us out of our misery, because I'm really irritated with Sabrina and Calvin, right? So then Maurice, once Calvin leaves, he tells her that, hey, Calvin told me everything about you and him. You know, so you gonna be strapping on for him. She says, no, Maurice, I'm not. She says, but I did look into it. And she said there are a lot of straight couples who do it, right? So are you gonna do it, Sabrina, or no? Like, she says, I can't see myself doing that, Maurice. Maurice, take care of a customer. You know, just work the cash register. Maurice and I both said the same thing. Cash register. We're bank tellers, not a cash register. She didn't have a rebuttal with what that shit was, right? So then we see Andy. So she's at work and Fatima comes into her office, right? So Fatima asks Andy, has Hayden made it in yet? She says, no, he hasn't made it in yet, right? So then Andy asks Fatima, have you ever had a threesome before? Fatima's like, who told you something? So she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, no, have you ever had a threesome before? So she says, no. Then she says, Fatima, have you ever had a threesome? She said, yes. So then she tells her, she's like, wait, is Gary asking you to have a threesome? She says, because if he is, don't do it. She said, and then she asked her, how does she feel? She says, she did the threesome, but she wouldn't do it again, right? Because she did it for an ex that she was head over heels in love with, right? So then Andy reveals to her that she had a threesome, and it wasn't with Gary, it was with Robin, right? And this was after she and Gary had got into an argument with each other, right? So then while they're talking, in walks Hayden. Hayden has on that orange shirt and them jeans. And Fatima was like, see, I knew that was listening to my phone calls, right? Now, y'all, we got an interesting scene with Danny. I mean, Tyler just literally sprung Danny in this episode. So we see Danny, she's at work at the airport, not doing shit per usual, right? So then El Fuego walks up to her and he invites her to Club Eden, right, to see him dance. El Fuego is really on his head about having Danny come see him down there at Eden. Okay, so he gives her this card, and I guess it gets them in free. So she texted to Sabrina, not Sabrina, but yeah, she did Sabrina. It wasn't even 5 seconds that she texted to Sabrina that Sabrina was calling her, like, who is that? And then, so Andy called her, so I guess all the girls are going to go to Eden. So then, while they're on the phone with Andy, Danny told Andy not to invite Fatima. See, Fatima is really too good to Andy, right? Because Andy is a flip-flopper. I get it that Andy and Karen have been friends for years, but I mean, damn. You are building a friendship with Fatima, and the minute any of your girls mentions Fatima, you drop her like a hot potato. I would feel some type of way. So then we see Zack. So Zack is back at the empty ass bank, right? And he made he's getting ready to make a deposit, right? Well, no, he's going to transfer. So Maurice was at the teller line, right? Then Sabrina walks her happy ass up there and says, "I'll help him, Maurice. Let me handle it. How can I help you, Zack?" Sabrina is so unprofessional. You all in this man's business, right? Why? Like, I get it that he is your best friend's ex, but why are you all up in his business? So Zack tells her, I need to transfer $1.4 million into a savings account. Now, the way he was talking, I thought he already had a savings account open, but no, he needed to open one. So he asked her, what is the best savings account to open? Well, even I knew that one. It's a money market savings. You want to open up a money market savings account, right? I actually had one, closed it. Actually, I have one at bank. I have one at Regions right now. But it's a regular savings account. But I think I'm gonna flip it at some point to a money, just because actually, I might keep it the same way it is, right? Because my savings account accrues money. It doesn't lose it, so it's not an account where, most savings accounts they take a portion, they take a monthly fee. This one doesn't. It increases, so I get interest on whatever is in that account, which is actually I don't even know what's in that account right now. I know it's not that much money in there. It's probably like $12. It's probably about like $12 in there. You know what though? I need to start back using that account. You know what? I need to write down all the bank accounts that I have. This is an account. I'm talking about this. This is an account that my mom opened for me when I was a kid. And over the years, I put money in there. It really taught me the value of money, right? Because I bought my first PlayStation 2 from that account because I used to do lawn. I used to mow my neighbor's lawns when I was a kid. And I would put the money in there. So I used to do little odd jobs. I used to collect. I still do that to this day. Like if we have soda cans in the family, I take the soda cans and I take them and sell them. And I used to put that in there, right? So yeah, I need to check into that because they actually did email me last year. They were going to try to close it because they hadn't been able to contact me, but I got it taken care of. But hey, that ain't got nothing to do with y'all or me. Well, it is me, but they not got nothing to do with y'all or this show, is what I meant to say. But let's move on. So then let's move over to Pam's non-acting ass. So Pam comes into the salon talking to Karen. What did you do last night? Pam, mind your business is basically what she told her, right? So she said, you got a certified letter here. And I signed for it. So Karen was like, why did you sign for it? Like that could be me being summoned to court. Oh, well, it ain't got nothing to do with her. So she opens the letter. She's like, oh, that's a legal document. She's like, you can tell that from these papers. So she says, you know what? Just push my 2 o'clock back. She was like, what 2 o'clock? She's like, did my 2 o'clock go to Isaiah? She said, yep. So then we see Andy and Fatima. So they went into Hayden's office to bust him, right? And Fatima laid into Hayden, right? So Andy told him that she sent the email to the, the partners, and that she's gonna suggest that he gets fired. So he was begging and pleading with them at that point. Oh, we're almost, well, you guys, we're about to wrap up the episode. So let's move over to Danny. Danny can be quite frustrating at times, right? Because Danny won't say what she wants to Preston. So she calls Preston because Preston never called her the night before when he got back home. He said he got tired and he passed out, right? So then she's asking him about his cousin Alice, right? He says she's fine. Why do you ask? She says, oh, I was just wondering. So he asked her if she wants to meet Alice. She said, absolutely not, right? So he tells her not to be jealous, which she is. So then Alice comes up and she was like, I brought you something to drink. She's like, do you like my dress that I have on? He was like, it's nice. So he didn't hang up the phone, but he didn't hang up. And then Danny was like, this cousin fucker. So then to wrap up the episode, we see Andy, right? So Andy and Fatima, they're having lunch. So Andy told Fatima, like, girl, I never emailed a partner. I was just bluffing, right? So then, she says, they're talking about her having the threesome with Robin and the unknown woman. So she says she has no regrets about it whatsoever, right? But then she says that she still loves Gary. For the love of God, why? So then they start having this uncomfortable conversation about Zack. Now, see, Fatima, I got to kind of be on Andy's side with this one. You don't need to have a conversation with her about Zack, about the sex with Zack, you loving Zack. But, Andy told her if she wants to go for Zack, go for him. Well, why did she say that? Because the nutcase is there. Karen. Oh, is that what this is, Andy? Go for it. Oh, God, Karen. I really hope Fatima beats your ass next week. I do. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified. And when I drop anything else, share the video. And until the next one, you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.